Hello fashion lovers, welcome back to my channel. Today it is this overbust corset that I will be drafting in this video. If it is what you're interested in, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Now you need to watch this video to the full because I know some of you will be wondering the droppings, how was it attached. So in this video I will equally be talking on attaching the droppings, the petals they use for it. Okay, so you know how we do it. We start with the calculation. These are the measurements I'm working with for this particular corset. Okay, so it is shoulder 6, bust 42, waist 30, and hip 44. Half length 16, blouse length is 25 plus 1.5, bust point 10 and half, nipple to nipple divided by 2 and under bust. Now I added my sewing allowance. It is optional. You can actually cut this pattern without adding allowance. When cutting it on the fabric, you will add enough allowance by the side. Okay, so but if you choose, you can just go ahead with the allowance. But me, I prefer adding the allowance because at times you will be cutting pattern. After you must have done with the pattern, you're placing it on the fabric, you can easily forget, I'm yet to add allowance, and you make mistake. Okay, so I actually prefer adding all my allowances while cutting. That way I don't make mistake when cutting. Okay, so the highest calculation measurement here is 14, and I folded my pattern paper. Now this particular overbought corset, I zoomed it to know what the pattern, the kind of dart bustier they use. Now it is princess dart bustier. This particular one you're looking at, there are other ways you can get your overbust corset, okay? But for this case, it is princess dart. So I've marked my shoulder. All right, I'll go ahead and mark my basic lines. We are starting with the shoulder, armhole depth, on bust point, under bust, waist, hip. Every basic line is what I'm marking out right now, and I've used my rule to mark them. So this is my shoulder, my bust, my BP, my under bust, and hip. Now when it comes to, there are different bustier, but if you're dealing with people that have bust, it is best you go for princess dart. It gives more curve. So I'm marking right now is the measurement plus sewing allowance. That is what I'm marking, right? Remember I added my allowances and I explained it is not compulsory you do that, but it is best you do that so you do not forget that you have not added allowance. Okay, so I'm connecting with my rule from the waist to the bust and from the bust to the hip. Okay, now it is very important why I folded this pattern. You can see it is more because I will equally treat conical corset, all right, on this. So this is bust point. Right at the bust point, what am I marking? My nipple to nipple plus half. Now your nipple to nipple, some do add half to it, some don't. If you don't add half to your nipple to nipple, that means when cutting it on the fabric you need to add that half. So that is why now the center, the under bust is where you're to take the dart. Here is 2 or 1.5. You see where I marked? Or here 1 inches. It is very important. The other part where this ruler is now is either 2 or 1.5. The minimum is 1.5. Here is 1. It is very important. But for me, to give me more curve, make it more curvy, I prefer going for 2 inches. But you can decide to, reduce it. Is your choice. So you come down here, you take it half inches on both sides, you connect it this way. All right, connect. Once you've connected all these parts, not all anyway, but all these parts will be cut off. Now the next thing is use your French curve. You see how I placed it? Curve it. This particular part is very important. It must be curved this way because it is a princess that bustier, but is an over bust pattern, all right, corset that you're. So you indicate your middle. I'm going for middle plus half. Use your French curve and connect it. Once you have connected it, you take your tape. You see here, 1 inches. All right, you take your French curve again and curve it. Now, why did I do this? To give my bustier more curve. All right, I think I need to zoom this particular place for you to see. Now, when it gets here, 1 inches away, you see here, 1 inches, you curve it. Once you curve it, you start from the origin here and curve it and join here. This is very important, especially when you are drafting an under princess that bustier that has shoulder. What I did now is very much important where there is shoulder, but in this case there's no shoulder, but it's still okay, right? So once you have gotten all this part I marked will be cut off, all right? Though you'll be seeing that the next thing is for us to determine our chest. Your chest can go up or down, but I'm going for 4.5. Yours can be 5.5. It is your choice, but I'm going for 4.5. Then I'll use my French curve. Now this French curve is not that long, so I'll have to do freehand as well and make sure it comes out smoothly. This way, this is better. Okay, now if you choose to maybe sharpen it, you want it sharp, feel free until you get the design you have. But this serves for what we have on the picture, okay, from the armhole. Now, you can see my armhole depth is 8. You can decide to increase it if you choose to. It's your choice, all right? Now, the next thing we should look at is this part. Place your tape. You either take 2 inches, you can take 2.5, you can take 1.5. It depends on what you want, okay? The next thing you need to do is get your French curve. That part needs to be sharp. Place it as if you're slanting it. You see how I placed my French curve? Now, French curve cannot do it all through. You have to do freehand and finish the rest. Okay? So, this is it. You can go with 2, you can go 2.5, whichever one, it is okay. It is your choice. Okay, now, another thing is, this part, you can see how curvy it is, okay? Now, another thing is, if you want this conical corset, the part that has more by the side, you can go this way. See how I place my French curve? You equally, in case that is how you want yours to be, it is your choice. You can extend it. Follow it this way and come back. Okay, you can extend it. So this is just optional. You can do this or not. It's optional, all right? But I will not be cutting that. I'll just go with the initial one we have in mind. So the next thing is for me to cut. All right. Now, while cutting, I will not be cutting all, but I will be, because I need to equally get the back. So after cutting this particular one, I'll move to getting the back. Okay. Once I'm done with the back, we'll come for cutting of the darts. All right. So this is it. Now, this is the easiest way you go about this. It doesn't have much stress. What of the bony? Is there bony on it? There is bony on it, but it's hidden boning. That is, the boning is inside, okay? There is bony, but it is inside the dress, not outside. So the first thing first, the back has zip. So we'll mark our zip, and I'm working with 1.5 inches, okay? 1.5 inches for my zip. That is what I'm working with. Then this is my zip allowance. Yours can be 1 or 2 or 1.5. It's matter of choice what you do. Now the same pattern, we'll start with the bust. We start with the bust half length. There is no bust point on the back. Half length and our blouse length, which is our hip, okay? Get rule and indicate the lines properly. Now this is my W, my hip, all right? the basic lines. Now you already know the back of this dress with just our normal waist dart, okay, that we'll be using. Now I equally came to the upper part and mark my bust measurement. All right, plus the allowance I added to the back is 2.5. Yours can be 2 or less if you choose to, but mine is 2.5. Right, that is what I added. Okay, now you can add up to 3 inches, but there's no much that on the back, so that is why I didn't go deeper more. So this is it, my shoulder, just our basic bodies first. That is what I just marked out. And once that is done, you come here. I usually do this, what I'm doing now, when because of the zip, you don't want it budging at the back. For you to have a smooth back, for you, especially for zip gowns that have zip, you must do this. Okay, I usually do this when cutting it on the clothes. At times I don't do it on the pattern. I just, when it's time to sew, I always take out that. So the next thing is for us to start marking our dart, and this dart is the same 4.5 we marked in the front is what we are marking here, because this dart will be cut through. It's not a dart you just sew, you will be cutting it and attaching it back. So because of that, we added 0.5 inches, all right, to the nipple to nipple. So nipple to nipple divided by 2 gives us 4. That is 8 divided by 2 gives us 4, plus 0.5 inches, and we have 4.5, and that is what I marked. Now this is my back. Now the same curve we did at the back is what we do at the front, but in this case we will be doing different thing. But bear in mind that your curve cannot be curvy. Now next thing is for me to connect this zip, just for me to indicate, show you guys I still have zip there. All right, I still have this. My zip allowance will now be deeper, okay, to avoid budging at the back. That is why I did this. Okay, so let's get down to the down part. The same 2 inches or 1.5 you choose, you used earlier, is what you do here. Okay, the same thing, no different. You place your French curve or a slanted. She needs to be slanted a little bit, to give you that curve. Now you can go, I will equally, you can go this way, all right, or looking at this girl's on this one on the picture, it is upper a little bit, so you can decide to go this way. It is your choice. Okay, any one of it works perfectly well. It is your choice. Her back was not this curvy, so that is why I marked this second one. But anyone you choose, I decide to work with, it is your choice. Then the next thing is for you to cut this way. Then you cut. This is our back. Next thing is for us to cut that bulge part, the part of the zip that bulges first, so we don't make the mistake. This is off. If you always sew gown and it bulges, please always do this. I always do it when it's time to, after cutting, I'll just cut it off, but you can do it on your pattern if you choose to. The next is for us to cut our dart. Okay, now I need to place this perfectly well so I don't make mistake before cutting the remaining one. Now the back of this dress has bony on it. Like I said earlier, it's not frontal bony, it is inner bony, the ones you don't see. That is what it is that was used on this dress. Okay, so that is it. Now you can see I've used tape to hold it down. This is how it looks. Okay, so that is my back. Okay, so what I just need is just place it on the fabric, and so let's cut the front. This is where you start. 1, but this curving on the down part of this blouse is best done when you must have done sewing of the part, padding it and all the rest. Now, watch what I'm doing here. You see this curving? It is very important you get it this way. It cannot be straight. This is a princess dart. All right, it cannot be straight. So this is it. All right. I'll use sellotape and hold it down so you get to see how it looks. This one here, this one this way. Okay. I need to use sellotape and hold this down. Now for the kind of pad, this is padded. You do bust caging on the lining. All right, on the lining, bust caging will be done on the lining, and the dress itself will have pad. You can do double padding after the caging, you pad it again. So this is it. All right, so guys, if you have any question, you drop it on the comment section, and make sure to drop a nice comment on the comment section. So this is, I just use sellotape to hold it up. Princess that gives you a perfect curve for your bust. It curves very well. This is just paper that I just used sellotape to hold. You can see it is curvy. Now this is the reason why I asked you to wait. You see, the droppings is on the upper part of it. The down part is skirt. The dropping is on the, now look at this dropping. This dropping is in the market. You see these petals, the droppings, one is bias rope, the way you sew your rope, but it will be very long. Now those petals on it, flowers on it, you see it on the market. Just buy them and stitch them down. These are petals you see on the market. Flowers, they use chiffon, organza to make, is in the market. Once you go to tailoring, you see all these things there. Let me explain it again. You see that long part of it, the long droppings, that is bias rope. The way you sew your rope, it has to be long. All right, from the blouse length down to the floor, it has to be long. Then the patches, the flowers you're seeing, some of it is, they use flowers, all these cotton chiffon flowers, organza you see on the market, and some of it is sewn. This thing on the rope itself, you can see it in the market. It is just attached to the body. Don't go to the market looking for it, including the one that is very long. No, the long one is rope. What is attached to the rope is in the market. You can get it in the market, or you sew it yourself. Those, you can use petals. Those petals they sell in the market. You can equally use those organza flowers. Okay, just tiny designs you see in the market that, especially for embellishment, you use for embellishment, you see it there. This is very easy. All right, you can achieve the down part on your own. All of them in particular, if you didn't get the particular color you want in the market, just make it yourself. All right, you can easily make it yourself, use a lighter and all the rest of them, and get petals or roses, just to attach to the rope. It wasn't completely all through, just maybe 2 or 3 in one rope, and your dress is ready. Okay, so that is how they achieved it. So guys, if I'm sewing this, I'll be updating you guys. I'll be posting the part 2. All right, that is if I make it by next week. I will be updating you guys. Thank you for watching.